Patience is a virtue. Everything in life takes time. Stay focused. Stay consistent.
Okay. So, without the effects, I'm gonna just go ahead on the start of the podcast. It's your boy A God. Welcome to Street Dialogue Podcast, where we talk dialogue from a street perspective. And we have a special guest today, Mr. Lee, the architect. How you doing, my brother?
Man, I'm blessed, man. I'm cooling. You know what I'm saying? Another day I'm here, so can't complain about it.
Got you. So, what we like to do, I would like you to introduce yourself for the fans and the people who are watching that don't know who you are.
Okay, I'm Mr. Lee, the architect. I hail from the great state of Texas. I represent the great city of Houston, Texas, and Dallas, Texas, worldwide. You know what I mean? I represent Southern culture. I'm one of the architects of the Southern Sound. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for almost 30 years now. So, I've been blessed. Multi-platinum, Grammy Award nominated, all that.
Got you. So, what I like to do with the guests, I like to go into their upbringing. So, you was raised in Houston, Texas, and you grew up in the church, and you was with both parents, correct?
Yeah, I was raised in Pineville, Louisiana. So that's
In
that's where I'm
Palmville.
that's where I was born at. That's where I was raised at until I was an adult. You know what I'm saying? I moved to Houston in my 20s when I was 22 years old.
Got you. And your upbringing, you was in the church at first,
Yes.
correct?
I had played for church from the age of 9 all the way to now. That's when I started at the age of 9, playing for church with my dad. He was a
And when you was playing for the church, you used to do like contests and stuff like that.
Nah,
What got you into that?
it was just I used to run the church service. You know what I mean? I was over the music department in my church. I used to travel with my dad all over the country. He was singing. My dad is a very known gospel solo singer. You know what I'm saying? So I used to go to a lot of churches with him as a kid and play for him and play for my church. I had two churches that I played for when I was before I was a teenager. You know what I'm saying? So I've been doing music and making a profession out of it since I was a kid.
So in my research, you was doing piano competitions
Yeah, I've done
during that time.
some. I've done some piano competitions around the age of between 10 and 13 years old. I went to some major piano competitions in Louisiana.
And what schools did you go to when you was growing up in Louisiana? Like what schools did you go to? Like elementary, middle
My
school, high
elementary
school? Like
school, my elementary school was Paradise Elementary, and I went to John Street Junior High in Alexandria, Louisiana. And then I did my high school years in Talga, Louisiana, at Talga High School, which I was the first black drum major at that school.
oh wow.
Yeah.
So how did you find love for rap and music
I,
growing up?
I mean,
Like,
I just had love for music. I grew up around music with my mom and dad. My dad used to play records all the time, and I was influenced by listening to different types of music and just going to church as a kid and being influenced and loving music. I've been loving music since I was old enough to think and know what it was. You know what I'm saying? So it's been something that was, I would say, was something that I was born with. You know what I mean? It was just music had always been something that comforted me. It was an escape for me and all sorts of things. So that's pretty much it's been my life since I've been alive, basically.
so you got into music. So you were in a group called 4D.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How did that start?
That was my first time getting into rap music. I was with the homies in Alexandria, Eric, Pep, Jermaine, my cousin, Bone, and Fred, James. All of us were in a group. We used to work all together. You know what I'm saying? So Dolphus was in there. And so we just did a lot of stuff. And that's when I really got my feet wet and really started to position myself to get into the music business, if you would say that. You know what I'm saying? That's when I really started my path into being a music producer.
So once you got into your path as a music producer, you got connected with Rap a lot.
I got connected with Rap a lot in early 19,
95?
yeah, right around 95. I got contact with him like 94. You know what I'm saying? Is when I got in contact
So
with
how
him.
did that take place? How did that come about?
Um, when I moved to Houston, I used to work on a keyboard. It was an ASR 10, and I used to go to the Guitar Center all the time and play on their keyboards and all of that kind of stuff. And I met a guy named Lakewood, and he had an ASR 10. He didn't know how to work it, so he and I became friends. And coincidentally, he lived down the street from a record store that was run by Big Chief, which was the VP of Rap a Lot, and that's how I got discovered.
Wow. So once you got with Rap a Lot, you was working with Scarface?
Yeah, I worked with Scarface. One of the first groups that I ever worked with when I got to Rap a Lot was Too Much Trouble. And then I did a lot of work with the Fifth Ward Boys. They were the groups that groomed me and gave me the poise to be able to sit in the studio with Scarface and other people like that. Without them, I probably wouldn't have made it in that circle. So they kind of groomed me and got me prepared for that.
So Rap a Lot at the time was an independent label at the time, correct?
Rap a Lot was going through Virgin Records at the time when I signed with them. You know, they were still independent, but they had major distro through Virgin Records. So that they was going through New Tribe at the time.
So what records did you cut with Scarface at the time when you was with them?
Um, I did.
Like what experiences did you have with him?
Man, really, the experience that I had with him, he gave me. He expected a lot out of me, so he wanted the greatest out of me that I can give. So his
Right.
expectations were high. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a situation where I could just do some half-ass things. He made sure that I was creative. He made me understand what a music producer was. So, you know what I mean? He gave me a lot of essence of my career. I learned it in the room with N.O. Joe, Mike Dean, and Scarface, and John Beto, and Tone Capone. All those guys really, I worked around those guys, and I was able to understand the whole business and the whole expectations of being a music producer and how to just music theory in general. So a lot of what I do today was I captured all of that knowledge in the room with those guys.
Got got you. So you worked with several artists in the game. One of them that stood out to me was Tupac. How
Yeah.
did that relationship come about?
That was after Pac died, I worked with the Outlaws. And we had this projects with the Outlaws on Rap a Lot. And I got an opportunity to do a song called Black Jesus that had Tupac on it. And they flew me out to LA and I did the record and all of that. So, it was a monumental situation for me because I was a big Pac fan. Just like everybody else, when he passed away, I was devastated about it. And I never
Right.
just really got a chance to meet him in person. We passed at different places and stuff like that, but I never really got a chance to get in the studio with him.
Oh, okay. So you just basically cut one record for him,
Yeah.
and then you moved on. So who did you work with after you worked with Pac in your career? What was the next artist that
Uh,
you worked with?
I mean, right after I started working with Pac, I started to establish myself as an independent music producer. That's when you started seeing me doing a lot of records with Slim Thug and Lil Kiki, and just started building my own brand. You know what I'm saying? I did a lot of records with Busy Bone. I did a couple of records with him. I did some records with Ludacris. I discovered Iggy Azalea, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I just started to really ground myself as being an independent music producer and an executive.
So when you discovered Iggy Azalea, who did? That's how she signed. Did she sign with Ti? Right.
Yeah, she signed with Ti probably about a year and a half after she moved to Houston. She came to Houston, and I worked with her and developed her like the day before she turned 18. That's when she came to Houston. I discovered her 2 years before, prior to that, on MySpace.
Wow.
And I told her I would work with her, but she would have to, before I work with her, she had to be 18, legal age to be able to sign a contract and all of that kind of stuff. So I wanted just to make sure that all the ducks was in a row before I started working with her. So she came to Houston when she turned 18.
And you just passed on to Ti just like that.
Well, we ended up having a hurricane in Houston, and she moved to Atlanta, and she worked with quite a few people before she got with Ti. You know what I'm saying? But
Got
she ended up landing there, which was a tremendous situation to be in.
right, right. So I wanted to talk about your book, Give 'em the Biz, which you talk about your 30 years experience in the music industry, standard contracts. You basically wrote a book that would give you a guide through any circumstance in the music industry. How did you come up with that book, Give 'em the Biz?
Uh,
What
man,
inspired you to write that?
my whole purpose now in this time of my career and life is to extend knowledge to people. I don't want people in this business that I've been working in for decades to go in it and give their life to this industry, and then when they reach the end of their careers, they don't have anything to look forward to. They don't have no money. They don't know why they don't have no money. So I wanted to give the knowledge to the people so they can understand what they're doing. I put all of my contracts in there, the bad ones and the good ones,
Yeah,
because I wanted to give them an example of what was going on so they can know how to maneuver in this business. A lot of people feel like, oh man, you shouldn't do that, or yada yada yada. Execs might think, oh man, why are you doing this? But it makes better business when you do it that way. I don't think people understand. Everybody don't have the same hustle. Everybody's not going to reach the same pinnacle in their careers because we all different individuals. You see what I'm saying? But having that knowledge will cause a lot of problems that we're having now. We won't have those problems. That's why a lot of artists, they when their careers are over, they go into drugs, they go into crime and things like that because they don't really know how to cope with life after the career's over, and they don't have anything to live off of with all of the labor that they put in. So I wanted to make a change instead of having small conversations and complaining and talking to people about who's not doing this and why they doing that. I wanted to put this in my book and give people an opportunity to see firsthand what a good deal looks like, what a bad deal looks like, why you should make a decision like this, why you should make a decision like this. So that was
correct.
my purpose for writing that book.
And chapter 2, you talk about the startup. How did you start up your business, and how did you get the idea to start up your
Man,
business when you was coming up in the game?
I started my business up all wrong. I did my business in my name, you know what I'm saying? Which caused me to have tax issues and all sorts of other things that came with that because I didn't have the knowledge to understand that, hey, if you're going to do business, you need to have a corporation, you need to have an LLC, you need to detach personal life from business life. I didn't understand that. And a lot of people still
Correct.
don't understand that. There's people going to jail for tax evasion. There's people that are getting liens put on their homes and all type of stuff is happening because the knowledge is not there. So it's no way to comprehend exactly what the steps are if nobody's teaching this. All this, what is happening here is just if a person get hyped now in this day and time, a record label look at them, they'll get a contract, shoot them some bread, and we're getting a bunch of jewelry, cars, clothes, all of this kind of stuff start happening, but there's no preparation for the end of the career. There's no preparation for the future. There's no nothing, but there's no knowledge for a person to take in to understand what they need to do. There's no guide. There, nobody's telling them.
So what bumps did you go through starting your business, and like what was the steps that went through? Like, can you take me step by step when you started figuring out to when you finally knew what you were doing when you were starting up your business? Like, can you just give us a story of what it took for you to get to where you are at right
I mean,
now for the people that's watching?
when you start getting letters in the mail and saying, hey, taxes are due and this is happening and yada yada yada, and when you're trying to, and when your home can be have liens on it, then you have to understand that if you separate all of that, then you don't have those issues. You still have to conduct business, you still have to pay taxes, you still have to do everything that you need to do. But if you have a family and you buying houses and cars and all of this, and if you don't separate that, then those issues can be a very catastrophic problem. That was the first lesson that I learned. And that's when I realized that, okay, I need to get a corporation and separate my personal life and my business so that I don't have these type of liabilities on me. You know what I mean? So it's a lot to do with the business. People, the talent is the most important, smallest thing in the music business. That's the smallest piece. Knowing how to do business, knowing how to obtain uh, ownership and establish how your money is going to be paid to you and how to do administration and all of these type of keys are the essential parts of business, and it's going to determine how you get paid in the latter years of your life. A lot of people are not fortunate enough to own their publishing. They're not fortunate enough to understand and know what how it feels to get 6 publishing checks a year and you're not having to really do anything to get those checks. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of that's it's just a lot of bumps in the roads, and that's the things that I learn, and that's the things that I'm teaching.
Exactly. So in chapter 5, you talked about alienating your business.
Hmm.
Can you explain that? What? How do you alienate your business when you're operating in the
I
music
mean,
game?
biggest the biggest example that I can tell you is when you have artists that get in this business and they get a deal, and and everybody's excited when they get a deal. You know, you can't fault a person for that. But the issue comes in when you get this deal and you get a budget, instead of you investing into the people that help you get there, you invest money with strangers. And if you fail, or if you don't, you just don't succeed the way you think you will, those people that you invested the money in, they're going to leave your side. They're not going to be there. They're not going to be there at all. You know what I'm saying? But if
Correct.
you invest that money into your circle, then you can catapult somebody to open up doors that may shut for you. You have a backup with a person that can open up some doors when you need them opened up. But if you're not investing into your circle and you invest out of your circle, then you alienating your business, you're alienating your career, you're alienating your longevity. All of that falls into place when you do that.
So that goes into building the team. So basically, you have to evaluate the people that are around you and build your team, know who you're working with, and basically build a team with people that you could trust. Correct.
Yeah, you just have to build a team. It's just about building a business. You know what I mean? You have managers, you have accountants, you have people that do labor. Everybody has an essential part to play. When you go into this situation feeling like it's a one-man game, or you just doing this shit yourself, then you're gonna lose every single time. If you get a single and it's hot, and you get a deal off a single, talking about a rapper, singer, whoever it is, and you get this, and you get in a situation where you are able to get this deal and you alienate the person that you did the hit with to go spend money with a person that you was a fan of, that's the dumbest move you can ever make. It's not good business. And then if you get a deal and you was paying a producer $500 and you get $1 million deal, don't get that dude no $500, man. Let that person
Correct.
eat with the fruit of the success that they help build. You know what I'm saying? You have to do things at the correct type of situation. It's got to be correct type of situation all the way around the board, man. When you invest into your people and you and a person able to grow and succeed with you, then they get better with you too. But if you starve
Right.
them out, then you're not gonna get shit out of that. It's gonna be a wrap. It ain't your career's not gonna be that good. Nothing's good gonna come out if you alienating people that helped you build your career.
That's facts. So my next question is chapter 6. You say put it on paper for artists out there that are signing contracts, and some people do things by word of mouth. But why is it important for artists to put everything on paper?
Prime example, in this day and time, you got a lot of artists that are getting killed. You got people that are dying young. All of these things are happening. When these situations happen, you with your homeboy and he's high, got a deal, and you got verses from him, and y'all cool with all of that. But then when this man passes away, his estate ain't giving a shit about how cool you were. When you try to go
Mm,
put that record out, and you don't have no paperwork. Guess what's going to happen? They're going to take it down. They're going to say you don't have rights to it. They're not going to care how much money you paid, how cool you was, how many times you was hanging with whoever it was every day. They're not going to care. Paperwork is the most important thing that you have to secure any investments that you make in this business. And if you don't have it, then you just throwing money in the wind. And you if artists come into town and you say, "Oh wow, I want to get this artist in town," and you get a promoter to get you over with that artist, and you so excited, you go in and lay a verse with him and pay the bread and do everything that you need to do. Because trust me, the rapper not going to do anything without that money being paid first, right? If you so in tune to getting making sure that you can pay a person for a verse that you want, then you should be as adequate in making sure that you have that paperwork in hand when they get there. And if they don't want to sign the paperwork, then you don't pay them. And it's just as simple as that. If you don't have that paperwork, then it's another void. Ain't no need of doing it because you're not going to have the support that you need.
That's serious. That's facts. You can't take anybody serious without having paperwork.
Nah,
So that does protect
yeah,
yourself. Without the paperwork, everything could go void. They could throw everything out the window.
exactly. It's going to get thrown out the window. It's not. They can't. It's going to get thrown out.
Right, 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 right. So the next thing I wanted to get into is publishing. I
Mhm.
know you make beats and you produce a lot of things. How important is it to have publishing on things that you're working on with
That's where
artists?
the money comes from. That's where your passive income is going to be built from. If you don't have administration and get your publishing in order, and say like you do 100 songs a year with independent artists, they don't have to be that big, but that accumulates. But if you don't start from point A and get the administration and register all of your work, then you can't get paid for nothing. You know what I mean? You getting the monetary gain, whether if it's an independent artist, you're looking at the average in this day and time, maybe $500 to $2,000, $2,500 max, and that's it. But if you got that publishing set up, when they put their record out, then all of those songs will accumulate income. Doesn't matter if they selling 1,000, if they doing 2,000 streams, 3,000 streams, all of that money together accumulates into a check. So the accounting and administration on publishing is essential because that's like your retirement plan. That's your passive income. That's one way of having passive income is making sure that your publishing is registered and you can get paid off of it
So
correctly.
talking about publishing, what do you recommend artists to do? To start their own publishing company
Yeah,
or to sign with somebody that
you can
to start their own?
start start your
That'll
you
be
can
the
start your
safest way.
start your you can start your own company and still be signed to somebody at the same time. You know, a lot of people don't want to give up publishing. They don't want to do anything. When I started with Rap a Lot, they owned my publishing. But at the end of the day, when I signed a deal with them, I didn't have not one song out. So I really didn't have any portfolio to give them any type of criteria on how much I should be advanced or anything. They just gave me money blindly. I could have sat there and not done anything and never recouped any money, but they took a chance. So I couldn't say, "Hey, I'm not going to do this deal and let you own my publishing." That's not happening. I got a fair deal. They owned the publishing, and they gave me 50% of the money from the publishing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I was able to get my feet wet with that, and then eventually I got my own deal with Sony, and I was able to get my own situation, and that's just how my travels were to get to where I'm at. But I tell people all the time, you have to understand what the give is and what the get is, what you're going to get out of it. And if you understand that part, then you know how to negotiate. A lot of people go in with this mindset that I want all of my publishing right now, but you haven't done anything to even you can't justify saying that because you haven't done anything that gives these people anything to stand on to say, okay, well, we'll just let you own it and take a percentage because you have no value. You have to build a value in order to make money in this business.
That's facts. That's facts. So when you started working with Sony, how did that how did that jump off? You say you went from Rap a Lot, then you got to deal with Sony. Like what made them recognize you as a producer and wanted to work with you
It's
at Sony?
positioning. When Slim Thug got his deal, I got my deal. You know what I'm saying? When
Mm,
I worked with Slim Thug and he got his deal and we did songs, when Sony signed him, they signed me. You know what I'm saying? And that's how that went. That's why it's so important to understand where you're going with this thing. You know what I'm saying? I knew where I was going with it. Did I know that I was going to get a substantial publishing deal like that? No, I didn't at the time. But I did know that Slim was going to be a big name and I went in and I worked with him at the time when I was working with Slim. I was getting anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 a track. I was charging him 500, but that was the best price cut that I ever could have made because it extended my legacy for a long time. And then the money
Right.
came. You know what I'm saying? So you got to just know how you got to put egos aside when you're doing this business and understand when you need to um, just evaluate what you're going to charge and how you're going to do business with people. Everything is not going to be the same.
So talking about Slim Thug, I like to dive into that. How did you build up your relationship? Because in this game, one thing they do say is relationships are key. So
Mhm.
from that relationship that you built with Slim Thug that led you in the Sony deal,
Right.
how did you build that relationship and keep that trust and that bond? Like, how did you build that over time? And then over time, from that relationship you built, it got you in that Sony deal. So how did that come about
I
with
mean, I
Slim
was
Thug?
I was I was a standout producer. You know what I'm saying? You got when I was a rapper, I mean, I was doing at least 6 to 10 songs each project, so everybody knew who I was. And I started to develop my own sound, so I was sticking out. So I was on people's punch list. I was on the Kiki's punch list. I was on Slim Thug's punch list. When we met
I
each
remember.
other, we clicked. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Slim is like a brother to me. You know what I mean? Me and Slim has had one of the best relationships, business and friends and brotherhoods out of a lot of people that I've worked with. I can honestly say that.
right, because he was known as the boss before Rick Ross came out with
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It took it off. He was the original
yeah,
boss for
yeah.
real. Salute to Slim Thug. So my next question is, I wanted to get in as you from your knowledge of being a producer. What is the difference between licensing and renting a beat?
There's no difference. There's no such thing as renting a beat. People come up with terminologies, and then everybody embrace wrong shit, and it begin to be the right shit. You know what I'm saying? And that it's
Right,
no such thing as renting a beat, man. I don't care what nobody say. You ain't finna tell me that it's such thing as renting a beat. It's not. It's a
right. It's only
license.
license.
It's a
Right.
license. You're
Yeah.
licensing it, but you're naming it renting. You're naming it leasing. Ain't no such thing. You're either doing an
Right.
exclusive license or you're doing a license that everybody can use, a non-exclusive. That's all it is. It ain't no such thing as buying a track from nobody or any of that, because if you buy a track from a person, that's a work for hire. That means when you pay them, that's it. No publishing, no nothing. That's what buying the beat
Right.
means. So I think that's why I wrote the book, because I want people to
Yeah.
understand the difference in what they are trying to say.
Anybody that's watching this interview, go get the book. Give him the biz right now, and trust me, it got everything you need to know in it. So my next question is, what's the difference between a producer and a beat maker? For those who don't know.
A beat maker is a person that make tracks and send out tracks to people, and they shop them. That's what they do. As soon as they get the beats done, they shopping tracks out, and that's the end of it for them. That's the end of the road. A producer is a person that get in the studio with a person and come up with a song, put a song in track mode, or a producer is a person that send a track with a hook that they wrote on it already, or a demo to it. That's what producers do, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Either you are going to be a beat maker, or you're going to be a producer. It's one or the other. A lot of people get slighted by that, but it's nothing to get slighted about. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just two different people, two different
Right.
setups.
Because you have some people that make beats, but they think they producers, but they never been in the studio with an artist to even come up with these tracks and make sure that they saying they words correctly. You know what I'm saying? Some people be
Exactly.
off beat.
So it's a lot
You
of work
know,
that go in there. It's a lot of work going to being a producer. Then it a lot of people end up putting their name. They want their name on stuff as a producer, and they're not. And then they wonder why. Well, this dude put his name on as a producer, and he didn't play anything on the track. He don't have to. If a person come in and direct the motion of a track and a song, they the producer, man. It's that simple.
exactly. So how do producers get paid when it comes to
Only we get paid by
making the
advance.
song?
It's advances. You know what I mean? It's just like everybody else. We get an advance. When we license the track out, we get advances. That's why I tell people all the time. It's very important that you pay the producers. Stop all this. jewing the prices down, giving a person a speech about how big you're gonna be. I don't want to hear that shit, man. Everybody got to eat, and this got business got to be done. So you
Mm.
have to conduct business. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing. We have to conduct business. Everybody, producers can't go out on the road and do shows every weekend and stack their money up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we can place tracks and do this and do that, but the way the climate of how everything is going right now, a lot of people get tracks from producers and they'll rap on them and hold them and ride to them for months and months and months before there's a discussion even made about licensing the track and paying it. The
Right.
major labels are doing it now. I don't play them type of games. Before you even listen to my music, you're gonna send me some bread. I ain't sending you no folder because you're not gonna winter shot with me like that. It ain't going down that way. And everybody needs to understand that. Start doing song deals with these artists and get half your money up front. And that way, when you working and it's time and a person pick the songs, you won't be sitting there for months and months waiting on a check. That's crazy, man. A regular blue collar employee has better chance in making more money in this climate than a producer will. I know a lot of producers with hit records, with big gigantic artists that are getting paid $500 and $1,000. That shit is ludicrous. Man. I can't even understand that.
So how much does a producer supposed to get paid?
It
Like,
depends. It
how do you
depends
know
on
your worth in this game?
your value is depend on the records that you produced. If you got hits out there, radio hits, or records that artists are performing in shows every week, then you negotiate those prices. And that's how you come up with. If I'm messing with an artist and the artist is getting $10,000 a show, then I base my prices on, okay, the least I want is $5,000 per track. You know what I'm saying? If you make it $10,000 off of every 2 or 3 days a week, you making five, 10, then I need to get $5,000 a track. That's my advance because you already know, okay, when we come back, you got the hype on you now. So that's how I base it. But everybody have their own way of looking at what they want to charge and what they evaluate their value at. You know what I'm saying? I evaluate mine according to how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a legacy producer, so it's a little different.
That makes sense. So one thing that I did learn from reading your book, you say the lessons you learn will make you a better person, also a businessman.
Mhm.
How important is it to become a businessman?
It's very important. It's very important, and I think a lot of people sell themselves short because they're scared to fail. Failure is one of the best teachers that you can have in this business, in any business. Because if you don't know how to reevaluate your situation and gain your pause after you fail, then when life come at you, and it's going to come at you, you're not going to have any position that you can play in those situations because you have not been experienced in failure. You it's just like a boxer that win all the time. As soon as one person knock his ass out, he's not going to know how to bounce back as fast because now you're going to be facing oppositions from people that don't have no fear of you anymore. And they're going to try to knock your ass out. That's the same way life is.
Right.
If you never know how to get off the canvas, then your ass will stay on it, Jack. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is.
Correct.
But a lot of people don't understand that. You know what I mean? Or they run from a lot of mistakes that people make too is trying to be at the top too fast. Grow from the bottom. Play your position and build yourself to where you're trying to go. That's why a lot of people have so many bachelors. Oh, I invested all of this money. I did this. I did that because you were trying. You jumped in the game like you was a major company, and you wasn't, and you're not. You you have to have the right business plan to succeed in any business, especially the music business, because it's a big money pit. Everybody's selling something. Everybody got the dopest song. Everybody got the finest female rapper. Everybody got jewelry on. Nobody's nobody's really an individual in this business, and we lose the aspect of the business with the whole attire of looking the rapper, looking like success. Diamonds don't sell records, Jack. Good business make money, good music make money, good work ethic make money. I don't care how many diamonds you got on, that shit don't mean nothing. It'll look good in the
Right.
club, but that shit don't sell no records, man.
It ain't selling no
It ain't
record.
gonna sell none.
So just to piggyback off of what you're saying, can you give me an example in your life where you had a failure and then you came back from it?
Um, yeah. I mean, it's the business. When I got into business, I didn't know the business, but I learned from the situations I was in. When I was at Rap a Lot, fam, I was in there trying to learn every aspect of what I was doing, whether it was the music or the business. And before people even knew and it really caught on to what I was doing and where I was at, I was almost a millionaire in the first year that I got to Rap a Lot. But I studied everything. It was people that signed the same deals I signed and signed their publishing away, and they was upset and didn't want to work and was fighting the company and doing all this and that. I looked at that contract. I said, okay, I don't own any of this publishing under this contract, and that's cool because I really don't have no value to begin with. So I'm looking at, okay, every song I get, I'm gonna get 50% of the royalties off this publishing. So I ain't mad at that. Every time I do a track, I get 50% of my money every time I do one. I ain't mad at that. And I bust my ass and I worked. And once I learned the business and understood what the value of the ownership was and the value of owning publishing, when I got to Sony, I was prepared for that deal. But I would not have been prepared for that deal if I hadn't went through the whole process of Rap a Lot and really sat down and was able to observe how other people was looking at this and how they could see a bad situation and how I saw something different. I wouldn't have got that experience without that. So that's how I look at it. And that's how you build from situations. I wouldn't necessarily say it was a mistake, but it was a learning curve that benefited me for years and years to come because I started to be a student of the business.
I feel that. I feel that. So another question that I have for you: why should someone put money before their purpose or business?
Why should what?
Why shouldn't someone put money before their purpose or business?
Because money is not the key to success. Knowledge is. Knowledge is power. Power gets you respect. Respect is going to get you to money. When you chase money, you're never going to get enough. But when you work and put yourself in a position where the money can come into you, then that's a different situation. You know what I mean? It's a different situation. Like a street guy that sell dope on the street. You got one street guy that's gonna sell weed in bulk, and he's gonna roll up the rest of his weed and cigars and sweets and sell the sweets when he get done with all of that to the people that sell weed with him. He gonna
Right.
make money off of them. But then
Yeah.
you got the other street guy that's gonna make money, sell his bags of weed, make his money, go to the jewelry store, go to the mall, get him a car, buy him some rims, and keep having to re up over and over again. But the dude that's selling the sweets is stacking money every day. So it's, you have to you it's an art to life, period. I learned this the hard way. I had to fail. That's a failure that I had.
Mm.
I didn't have divine order in my career at the beginning, meaning that my career was in front of everything at first. And then when I got remarried and I got older and I understood the value of life and how things supposed to go, my career wasn't first. God is always first. My wife
Correct.
is second, my family is third, I'm last, and then my business is after that. And I've been successful ever since. But when you out there chasing some shit, you can't establish yourself in a position where you can make money even when you sleep, or make money just because the person say that's Mr. Lee. I'm gonna spend with him. I want to work with him. I want to yada yada yada. You can't make a brand like that when you're running and chasing. So I had to learn that the hard way, and that's why I don't put money in front of my purpose. I would never do that.
That's facts. That's facts. Another thing I wanted to talk about, you have a TV series that's out?
It's not out. We're developing it right now. You know what I mean? We're
Is it
developing
developed?
it. Yes, we're in developing stages right now. It's gonna be really, really dope. I can't wait
Yes.
to get the pilot and stuff shot so I can, share it with everybody. And it's gonna be up there, man. It's gonna be something that's gonna be really dope for the whole industry, and it's
So
gonna be
what
able,
we gonna be
focus
able
on
to find
everybody.
that on Netflix?
We're shooting for Netflix right now. I got a documentary, and we're shooting some more episodes to that right now too. So I have a documentary that I'm going to be releasing that's going to have probably about 5 to 8 episodes, and then we're going to develop this television show. So once we get it all done, then we're going to take it to some of the subsidiaries and find out where we want to land it at, whether it's going to be on Netflix or on a television network. So we just working on trying to get everything situated right now.
I'm most definitely looking out for that for sure. Another question that I have for you, can you tell me about Beats for Breakfast? How did you come up with that? Beats for Breakfast.
Just being bored.
Yeah,
Being bored, waking up in the morning. I just wanted to show people my grind
yeah,
and encourage other people to work and do the different things like that. My mind be spinning so fast, what I'm saying? I'm like, oh man, I want to do this, I want to do that. So I kind of backed off of it for a few months, and now I'm reestablishing it. I'm gonna start doing interviews, and I got a team that I'm building with me that's gonna help me do everything because I was doing all of the stuff myself. So now I got a team,
right.
so
I
yeah,
liked
we
it
do
that
more
though.
good stuff.
That
Yeah,
Beats for
so I'm,
Breakfast,
I'm getting ready.
man.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to turn back up on Monday with that. So you'll be seeing that on Monday.
Another question I have for you is, how do you get placements?
Uh, I think one of the easiest way to get placements is being with a reputable publishing company. They give you a who's looking list, and you can shop records that way. If you're doing it the old-fashioned way, you got to hit the clubs, you got to get outside and tap in with the artists, go to the studios, book studios, invite people there. There's no certain way to do it. You just got to be in the
Right.
mix and get the tracks there because it's not really about who's the dopest and everybody's picking the dopest producer to work with. They're picking the people, choosing people that are available to them. That's how tracks are get placed. It's not really about talent; it's about the availability.
Got you. So I want to get into some of the creations that you done developed from being a producer. It's a two-part question I have is what is Drum Life and what are the benefits in using this product that you came up with, Drum
Uh, drum,
Life?
drum life is a combination of all of the tracks, all of the drums that I used over the years. A lot of those drums have been ran through SSLs, compressors. So I just wanted to share all of the sounds that I used because right now you got a lot of stock stuff that's being used. These kids are opening up FL and they just going straight to the sounds in there and they making tracks, which there ain't nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to give them an experience of using drum sounds that were curated over 20 years. And so they can hear the difference. So that's
Yeah.
why I started out with Rompler and started my own software and my own VST. Shout out to Rompler and all of the great things that they're doing. So that's how I ended up doing that.
Anybody that need these beats, the software, how can they find that?
They can tap in on my bio on Instagram and go straight to the store and buy them and download them ASAP.
Exactly. So you also are the creator of Stems. Stems
Mhm.
is a VST created by you. Explain how Stems work.
Stems are stems are like some of my legendary songs that I've done. My standout songs. I stemmed out all of the sounds in it and the loops of different sounds because a lot of my music is getting sampled now. So I wanted to make
Right.
this available to the artists, to the producers, so they can go in and say, okay, I want to sample one of Mr. Lee's records. You can go to my STEM VST, and all of those songs are on that VST, and they're broken out,
Yeah.
and they got the loops there, and all of the sounds are stamped out, so they can use the individual sounds the way they want to. So it's just an idea that I had
That's
to
dope.
start doing
I,
music.
I really thought that was dope.
Yeah,
Like you thinking outside the box, not inside the box,
right.
and looking at everything you're doing, you're actually helping artists, giving them gems that no one else would give them. But you
Right.
have to invest in yourself. If you want to be better, you want to be like you're the example of a great producer. Your work speaks for itself.
Absolutely.
These are the things that you need to get into. So all
Absolutely.
you artists, click the link in the bio. Most definitely get into the stems and get your beats going. Get that going.
Yeah.
So another question I like to ask my guests is, what do you value more in life, morals or money, and why?
Morals. Money is something that you can get all the time. It's never too late to get money. It's never too late to be rich. It's never too late to be wealthy. But if you don't have no morals, then that shit is never going to work anyway. You know, and everybody make mistakes. Everybody have a point in life where they're trying to find themselves, and things are not the best that they want it to be, or they're not making the best decisions. That's just life, and life is like you're gonna experience that. But if money is the first thing on your mind, that's gonna be the last thing you get, and I promise you. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people out here that have bigger songs and bigger spotlights on their careers, and they don't have half the shit that I have. They have not lived half the life that I've lived because they didn't have the order, man. And that's why you see people that have extremely big records and was this big of a person back in the day and yada yada, is in the room with the greats and all of this stuff, but in their current life they just don't have anything to show for it. And that's why, you know what I mean, just chasing the bread is not where it's at. And I know it sounds cliche-ish, and a lot of people are like, well, you living out, you this, you that. Nah, man, that's just not what it is. You know, you got to go through the struggle and understand that, and then build yourself from that.
And I like what you said because you are a person that went to the struggle. I just want to go back a little bit to the beginning of your life. Most people don't know that you was on the run for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chasing money.
Chasing money.
Chasing the
So
bag.
that made I wanted to ask you that earlier, but now that you're talking about it, it actually reminds me of that because that was one of my first questions I want to ask you. But what happened in your life when you went on the run for 10 years? Like, what caused that? Like, what were you going through during that time? Because this was the time when you was signed to Rap a Lot.
I signed a rap a lot after I was on the run. You know what I'm saying? Basically,
That's
started
crazy.
making music, and I got in the streets. You know what I'm saying? I started
Yeah.
selling crack cocaine and weed. I was out there, you know what I mean? I was living a total opposite life when my parents taught me the morals that I had. I lost that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people look at me and don't think this shit, but I was in them streets, Jack, and I was not playing in them streets. Anybody that know me from my hometown know I didn't play no games. I was a nerd, a gangster nerd, Jack, in the streets, you know what I'm saying, and doing shit that I shouldn't have been doing. And I had an epiphany. I was coming back from Houston and I got pulled over. And that's when my career started, man. I ran from the laws, and I just dropped down in the middle of a field and I prayed. No joke, no dramatics or nothing. I prayed to God and I told him, I said, if you get me out of this, I would never do it again. I would never go this way again. And I got out of that field, and my partner was able to pick me up. And within 90 days, I met Lakewood at the Guitar Center. And then within 2 months after that, I was signed to Rap a Lot.
Man, that's amazing. Like,
True
your
story. It's in my
story is amazing.
documentary. It's in
The
my
book,
documentary, man. I talk about it.
everything you wrote, I mean, everything was amazing. I made sure I paid attention to everything. You have a lot of gems. I recommend everyone to go get your book.
Mhm.
Um, so one question, this off the subject. What are your top 5 artists in hip hop? Your top
Man,
5.
Johnny Houston just asked me this shit. I can't do that. I work with too many people, man. Like, the number one rapper
So
on my list is Scarface. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Scarface is number one on my list. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And then if I had to think of a number two, it's going to be two people. It's going to be Pimpin' Bond. And then, if I go number three, it's going to be Lil Kiki and Slim Thug.
oh
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And then you go number four, I'm going to have to go with man, Paul Wall and Zero.
them
You know?
all Houston legends right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's all my people. And number five, and it's really no order. I got to put the late great Nip. That's
Matter of
nephew. You know
fact,
what I mean? I can't keep
I'm
him off
glad
that
you
list.
mentioned Nip because that was one person we didn't mention in the interview.
Hmm.
You do have a track with Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah,
Um, how did you build that relationship with Nipsey Hussle? How did that
man.
come about?
Through the music that I was doing in the South, the song that I did with Lil Kiki, "Gotta Be a G," is how I met Nipsey. That's how me and Nipsey met each other. And we was joining at the hip ever since.
And what was the name of the track that you produced for Nipsey?
Uh, I did both Blue Laces. Both Blue Laces, I did those, and then too. Let me see. That's why I like doing this top five shit. I can't forget about Trade the Truth either. I think
Oh
a
yeah, Trader.
lot
Oh,
of
that's a
people,
legend.
a lot of people overlook Trey. You know what I'm saying? For
Trey
whatever reason it is.
legend.
But Trey's not only a legend, Trey's a real musical dude, though. You know what I'm saying?
And he
He's a real
gives
musical
back to
dude.
the community.
Yeah, but
He
you know,
gives back to the community. He does a
it's
lot.
it's hard for me to do a top five rapper because I
Right,
work with so many people, man. So many big names I've worked with. It's hard for me to say. It's hard for me to put because it's going to be a prejudice list. It's not going to be a list that is practical. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna have my favorites on a personal level. You know what I'm saying? And it's horrible, but I can tell you right now, I don't care what list I make. Scarface is going to be the number one rapper on that list
right, right.
every time.
So what? So it's a lot of things going on right now. What advice do you have to these artists that are, with these entourages? You see what happened to Young Thug. You see what happened to Lil Durk. You've been in the game. You come from the game. You've been in the streets. You know how it is. What advice do you have to these artists that you got people that are with you when you were at the bottom? You can't bring everybody up. You
And
know,
everybody's not going to be there. But it goes back to what we just discussed, and all of this stuff always ties into itself. When you don't have divine order, then you are going to do stupid shit. You're going to put yourself in a position to be away from your family because if you keep whatever your religion is or the person that you look up for that is your most high, if that ain't first, and then your spouse or your family, your kids is not in that top three before this
right,
business and all of that other shit, then you gonna fall off. Something's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? If you put your friendship in your vindictive thoughts that you have about getting even with somebody that did something to somebody that you love, but the people that are here depending on you, that love you and you love them, you're letting them down, putting yourself in a situation to be put in the penitentiary. But the problem stems from OGs, people like me. We don't give these kids nothing to live on. We don't give them no knowledge, fam. We fanning out. These niggas is fanning out with these kids, fam, and trying to be with
yeah,
them and trying to wear chains and shit with them kids and all of this kind of shit instead of saying, hey, man, look, little homie, don't do this. I know you mad. I know you want to do something to buddy. Don't do this shit. You got a family that you got to take care of. I don't care how much money you got. You can't. You still a nigga. You still black. You still in a situation. You break the law, white, green, yellow, blue, whatever it is. You're gonna go to jail. You'll lose your whole life. Get out. Leave it alone. You blessed. You got money. You got everything that you want in life. Don't throw it away trying to be a stand-up guy in the streets when the streets is going to forget about you when you go to prison. They're going to forget about you
facts.
when you die. They're going to celebrate you for one day every year. Two, if you're lucky, you'll get the death date and your birthday. Other than that, ain't nobody going to talk about you after that. But, we don't have enough OGs to give these kids this knowledge, man. They fanning out. That's why I wrote the book. That's why I'm on the internet, on Instagram, saying shit that's getting me shadow banned on Instagram because I want people to know the knowledge. I don't care if it's 10 people that listen to it every day or look at it every day. It don't matter. 1 minute that I give a person is more information that they will get in a lifetime because nobody's giving them this information, man.
That was the reason why I really wanted you to get on the show
Yeah,
because it's a lot more to you than just producing for these
yeah,
famous people.
yeah.
You have knowledge about the game that people are not willing to sit down and give out to people because the lack of knowledge is why we perish, and that's how you get messed over. When someone see you don't know something, they like, man, I could get over on this person
Exactly.
like this.
And
But
it's gonna
those are
happen.
not genuine people.
Yep,
But when
it's
you
gonna
have
happen.
someone that's genuine like you and you giving out the knowledge, and you sit, you got to go back. You got to go back and you got to give thanks for that. But that's why they should invest in the things that you have as far as your books and stuff
Yeah.
like that because
They
people are
will.
not
I
willing
mean,
to.
eventually it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm working with my purpose in life. You know what I mean? So the money's gonna come. I'm not even doing it for that reason, but it's gonna
Right.
come anyway. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? A lot of people start understanding, man, what this dude is saying is absolutely true. You notice every time I say something, it's not nobody that's gonna challenge what I'm saying or say, no, that's not true, because I'm telling the truth. But it's a lot of us out here, a lot of black kids and minorities that's in this music business, and they get taken advantage of because they don't understand the system, and you can't make money that way. We give shit away because we're told that's the route to go, that's the normal, and that's bad. That's bad, fam. You know what I mean? Ain't no way around that shit. Is bad. But we can't,
Right.
I
So
can't
do you
make room
think
for my kids. If my kids want to go into the music business, I can't make room for them to be successful if I sit around and I know that I'm a legacy producer and I'm a person with knowledge and I don't stand up and say, look, guys, this is what this is. You know what I mean? A lot of people are not going to be happy with me doing this because when these people that listen to me and they go into these offices and they start to negotiate their deals, it's going to be a different type of story. But this is nothing different. The Ray Charles and Sam Cooke was doing these type of things back in the day. Ray Charles owned his masters. They couldn't take his shit from
Prince
him.
too?
Yeah, and
Prince,
that's
he preached that.
yeah, that shit been happening for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we have to introduce these kids to this knowledge and so they can get understanding when they know what they're doing when they're going into these different situations.
Right. So with the knowledge you have, I know you spoke on 360 deals and stuff was that sort. Can you break down what is a 360 deal and what deals should artists look to get when they're actually like what's the best deal that an artist can actually sign when they're going into the label?
I mean, best deal you can sign is the best deal that's going to get you paid. How about that? A lot of people don't look at that way. If you're a new artist, you can't go into a record label and you sign in as a new artist and your valuation on your music career is not nothing. So you can't go in and say, "Oh, I don't want a 360 deal. I don't want this and that. I don't want you to own my master." You saying you don't want all of this shit, but you hot and they want to do a deal. A lot of people don't want these 360 deals because they've been told that they're bad. But I'm here to tell you that it could be a bad situation for a person that's been working 10, 15 years and then they just go in and give all this stuff up. That could be a situation that's not that good. But when you get a regular label and they put you in a 360 deal and you're an earner already, then they're going to push you in the path of money even more because they're going to be able to get money with you. A person would much rather put a person in position to get money so they at the same time they're being able to get money off of them than it will be to work with somebody they really don't have no incentives to put them in a position to make money. And that's why a 360 could be good or it could be bad. It's just the way that you look at it. But if I'm a record label and I know that I'm gonna make 10% off a show, then I'm gonna get with one of the best booking agents and make sure my artists stay booked up forever as long as I can keep them booked. You see what I'm saying? So you can't cry about that little percentage if you are making more, doing more shows, and they're putting you in a position to have more traffic to make money. So that 360 deal then becomes beneficial. But you have to
That
look at it
makes
as a
sense.
business. You have to look at it as a business entrepreneur and not look at this shit like, well, y'all trying to steal from me, y'all trying to take from me. Everybody got this big idea that regulators are trying to steal from them. Then you walk in with this no, no, no attitude, but you're not really looking at the propositions that are in front of you. All of them are not good. We know that, but there are good positions that you can put yourself in, but you have to understand the business that you're in.
I understand what you're saying. So basically everybody that's talking negative about a 360 deal, it doesn't really apply to everybody because you have to actually look what benefits you in the contract and you work what
Exactly.
benefits you. You can't look at the
Man,
negative.
look,
So if you concentrate on the negative,
if I can make 70% of 100 12 times a month, I'd rather do that than to get 100% one time a month. And that's
right?
how you look at that. You know what I'm saying? It's all practical business. But when you got kids that are getting straight out of high school, straight off the streets, and they ain't got no education, no knowledge, they can't even think this way. I couldn't. You know what I'm saying? My mom and dad worked their ass off so that I can have everything that I had. They didn't go to business class. They didn't have money management classes. They didn't have none of that. So I wasn't equipped with that the first 10 years of my career. I had to learn that. So there's a difference, you know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of people get taken advantage of. You're 18, 20, 21 years old, you're signing agreements and you're not really understanding what you're signing. but you can't blame nobody for that. And get all on the internet and lash out. And somebody fucked over me and they did this to me. No, you agreed to that contract when you put your signature on it. You it was an agreement and say that this I agreed to these terms. And once you sign that contract, that's what you're saying.
That's facts. That's facts. That's facts. That's a lot of knowledge that you're given as well. So, what goals do you have in the future? Like, what are your future plans or any projects that you have new that are working on? Any new artists? Or, like, what do you have planned for the future?
I mean, right now I'm just on a quest for wealth. You know what I mean? Trying to make a way for my children and my family to keep my legacy alive and build my legacy where it would never perish. That's my goals and my purpose right now, and just to be someone that can not only be known for the music that I've done, but known for the information that I give people and the things that I'm trying to help people with. So that's my purpose, and that's where I'm at right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm really just trying to educate and make things a lot better for people that's coming behind me.
So, what's the best way for someone to get in contact with you if they need some type of advice or, you know, knowledge from you? Like, what's the best way for someone to reach out to you to
I,
get that knowledge
I mean,
and to get those gems?
the easiest way is to tap in with me on my social media. I normally answer a lot of questions, or get at me, and I'll get you over to people on my management team, and they'll give you a holler. You know, and we'll just take it from there. I don't ignore anybody on my social media. You know, sometimes I get in trouble when I don't, but
Right,
I try
right.
to make myself accessible where a person can ask me at least one question or reach out to me to try to work with me or whatever it is. But I have a management team intact, and there's a number on my profile where people can text and call if they're trying to reach me for whatever reason it is.
And when they're reaching, they should have a budget, right?
They
In
have to have
play.
that bread. If the bread is not
Gotta
in
have
the
that
hand, I
budget
am
in
not your
place.
man, Jack.
Yes,
Don't come talking to me.
yes,
You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. That's how it
exactly.
is. If you want to listen to tracks and you're shopping to get a track with me, have your money ready because I'm not sending any folders, no MP3s, no nothing without my deposit up front. It just ain't happening. You know, I'm a legend. I am who I am. And when you contact me, you know what you're getting already. So it ain't no man.
Exactly.
Let me see. I don't want to talk to you. If you listening to my shit and then you want to come back in a month, I don't want to talk to you. Come back that month when you're ready. Don't waste my time. You know what I mean? I'm a real asshole about that, but that's just how I am.
Don't waste the time. So
Yeah.
anybody that's trying to follow you and how can they follow you on social media?
Mr. Lee
What's the best way?
713, Mr. Lee 713 on Instagram, Facebook, producer Mr. Lee 713 on Twitter, Mr. Lee 713 on TikTok, and Snapchat. All of it is Mr. Lee 713. Do yourself a favor and follow me and stop looking at my stuff. Y'all not liking and hitting that like button because I'm gonna start talking all
For
type of
real.
crazy shit about it. But look, seriously though, I need people to make sure that you are liking these videos that I'm putting up because I get shadow banned. Believe me, it's a real
Yeah,
thing. Share my shit when you see it and you like it. Hit the share button so other people can see this shit, man. Because I'm telling y'all, the last probably 2 or 3 posts that I made, I was shadow banned. I could tell. You know what I mean? That my numbers started dropping down low. And it's not even really about the numbers. It's about me being able to reach out and touch people with this information. And when you start talking and telling the truth about something, and it's some real important shit, they gonna suppress the shit out of it. So I need everybody when y'all look at my videos, share my videos. Hit the like
facts.
button so I can stay up in the algorithm. I need y'all help to do that. If I'm gonna keep doing this and giving this stuff away, I need y'all to do that. And I'm coming up with a master class that I'm getting ready to start recording this week, and it'll be available online. And I'm gonna do some music business retreats, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
have a lot of people coming in. I want these kids to understand what whole life insurance is. They need to have that at an early age, so when they get in their 30s and 40s, they have a bag already set to the side where they can live off of it. I want people to be able to survive in their 40s and not having to sell drugs and buy a car with somebody else's name on it and all this old goofball shit that they kept
right.
catching us on the credit fraud and all this stupid shit, man. And that shit is
Yes, sir.
only happening because we are illiterate to the business. And nobody's telling us this shit. Nobody's telling us how we can leverage our company and buy shit in our company name. But we don't know this shit. You know what I'm saying? I learned this shit in my 30s. I was mad when I figured it out because I'm like, damn, why I didn't know this at first, but I was thankful. that I was around people like Big Chief and Lil J and Tony Draper, greats. These niggas, I was around them, Jack. When other people's out there trying to go to the club and party, doing what they was doing, I was sitting underneath them guys, learning and soaking up everything they was talking about. Because I wanted to know, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to know the business. I want to know how to get to the money. And my nigga, I'm already good as a producer. I already know that. But
That's
being great and
facts.
good at music and being horrible at business will have you broke. I'm still learning. I don't know shit now, everything now. I'm still learning. But when I'm learning, I'm giving the game and the business to everybody that when I get the information, I'm sharing it. You know what I mean? Because I want people to
Facts.
understand this. You know what I'm saying? So it's always you're never too old to learn, and you never learn enough. You learn every day. Every day is going to be something different. Every mistake you make, you learn from it. Okay, I shouldn't have did this. That business that I did wasn't good. I shouldn't have operated
Hmm.
like that. I shouldn't have handled a conflict this way. I shouldn't have did this. Learn from the mistakes and cut it out and just keep moving forward and be better every day. Learn how to be better every day.
Man, I hope everybody listening. It was a pleasure having you on the podcast. Shout out to our sponsors at Golden Money Team Marketing. They sponsoring everything. Salute to you. Y'all make sure y'all go get the book. Follow Mr. Lee 713 on Instagram.
Yes,
And
sir.
y'all make sure y'all sharing that content for real.
Man, hit that share button, man.
All right, Mr. Lee, man, it was a pleasure having you on. This will be up tonight on YouTube. Y'all go subscribe to Street Dialogue Podcast on YouTube. That way y'all can rewatch this. Y'all can get all these facts about the music industry, and y'all can learn about a living legend right here. This is a living legend in the flesh. Mr. Lee, the architect. Salute.
Yes, sir. 100.
All right, my brother.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Peace and love, man.
Love.
Yep.
Patience is a virtue. Everything in life takes time. Stay focused. Stay consistent. Wow, 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 wow. It's a God.
My splash, yeah.